Okay, part 3. So anyone still tuned in, thank you. God bless for watching Jerome, Alexandra and myself, Mark Keds of Deadcuts, on Sonic Shocks, being interviewed by Christina Massey. Thank you for paying attention.
Grazie.
Grazie.
Thank you, guys. Right, another thing I wanted to talk about is there are a lot of connections between your music and the supernatural. Last time you talked about moon and
yeah, well, we were formed on the first. We've always, I've always written around the moon and been very conscious, and I think both of us come from a background where, say, a spiritual. You know, I mean, our faith and what we believe in, we call different things.
Yeah.
But we're kind of, Deadcuts was grounded in or our spiritual beliefs definitely radically profoundly influence what we do as a band, and certainly, we formed on the first full moon of 2012, and I really believe in that kind of pagan. I'm not pagan, point that out, but I believe in that pagan belief of like moon worship, of like resting before the moon and practicing. Pagans would practice magic and ritual on the full moon. They'd rest before and they'd rest afterwards, and any kind of rest I'm always very pro. But yeah, I'm just sitting here looking at words and like trying to work out when I always, wherever possible, write my words. So I mean, I'm writing daily, but I'll take time out, and rest prior to a full moon and work around that, right around that.
We're really into film as well. Like, we've been making the music very cinematic. It's like my guitar style is more influenced by film than, say, guitar players. Like, I really love Kenneth Anger and Jodorowsky, even like Francis Ford Coppola when he made
all these artists as well were coming from a spiritual.
Yeah, because it is magic. When
whether it's
numerical,
belief in sort of numerical systems, or religious beliefs, different spiritual philosophy. I guess spiritual philosophies is more a word. And we were just talking about the Knights Templar while the cameras were off, and the meaning of what brought into being Friday the 13th being a...
Last Friday the 13th was quite eventful.
Yeah, seriously eventful. I mean, we booked... we're in the studio that day because, I ran it past Cass. I was like, Friday, not knowing it was the 13th. He's like, yeah, of course, Friday the 13th, book it down. I'm like, we in there. This little place we're working in, North Acton. I'm just looking through my notepads, and on the 12th... because we did a song called Opium Styles that day, which was, really...
It's like a mirror.
I find it quite hard to talk about, actually, because just looking at it, it's like, it was so prophetic to the events that went down in Paris later that night, and I'm singing this stuff that was written the night before, a song called Degenerated, which has evolved into a song on the record called Opium Styles. The chorus is someone had to pull the trigger, someone had to take the fall, and it about a body count, and that just, shit like that really fucking spins me out.
We were in the studio, and then the minute we get back, and I remember because that song in particular we were really vibing on and we were playing, and then I got home, and of course it was all on the TV, on the internet. I think it was like 15 minutes after I found out, and had a few friends from Paris actually message me. And we had friends playing out there too, guys from the Fat White Family were playing out there, and I was talking to them, and everyone was completely freaked out. Yeah. But then reading his lyrics and thinking, oh my God, it was really strange. I can't explain it. I don't know how to explain it, but it was very odd, very cathartic in
Genesis
a way.
PR always talks about us being tuned into creative people being tuned into the ether and like morphic resonance, that phrase. It's like where what's an example? An example is there was an experiment where they had they separated a group of monkeys, yeah, into one container and one monkey, and with no visual or audio connection. Yeah, they're totally separated, and they taught the monkey to do, something. I don't know. They taught the monkey how to do something, and then without any physical connection, audio, visual connection between the two, after a period of time, the monkeys that were completely isolated all started doing the same thing. So there's there's stuff outside of our realm of understanding and perception. There are powers at play. And
was that when we did DK as well? Because originally that was, what was it called, Dead Kid? Is that right?
Yeah, Deadcuts. And I can't even remember that. Yeah, we were recording that for Dark as the Night, and we come out of the studio and
saw some girl like walking, because opposite is Haggerston's train station.
Rail station. And
so you look
girl,
up,
like walking off.
That's where we did the first interview.
That's
yeah. And there's like a girl walking, and she looked like she was on ketamine or something. She was completely out to
the
lunch.
platform we're like, that's not the platform anymore. She just like walking down like the railway embankment.
And we were like yelling at her, saying, "Get off there!" And then she disappeared. So we assumed she'd come off the track, right? So we go back in.
We're recording.
We come back out.
2 hours later, the station's closed, and they're like, "Yeah, someone just gone."
Someone just jumped in front of her. So she probably jumped. Oh, yeah, that's right. The guy said, didn't he? Said about 8:30, 8:40, and that's when we went out. Said that she jumped in front of the train, so we would have missed her. Oh, it was so fucked up.
I've forgotten even that was what the initials stood for. You just reminded me of that.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so much. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're spending time with, or I'm certainly spending, meditating on this, the darker aspects, of. And I just try to be real with myself when I'm writing lyrics. And what I'm feeling and what I'm picking up on.
Well, it is like a psychic connection, music.
Look at, shit, man. There's so many, writers. If I think about writers, it's easier to think about writers than musicians, because take the ego away, because it's not like what I'm involved in, but like writers like Aldous Huxley and George Orwell, who wrote in this area. And I guess part of the reason, it's not just like 'cause my family's from here, part of the reason, I'm the only member of my family to have stayed here in East London, and George Orwell
Alan
wrote
Moore.
here.
Remember V for Vendetta?
Yeah, Karl Marx worked, and what was Marx's Engels? Engels worked and wrote on this street. And stayed, and Orwell stayed in the hostel near here, and Coleridge, and just the history, and these writers were like visionary writers, and I guess, but I really believe that every, in time and space, and every area, every geographic area, London, we're in the oldest part of the oldest metropolis on the planet, the first. Not
Jean
the first
Genet
city, but the first modern metropolis is here, London. Where we write in, and there's a great power to that.
John Genet really said he'd get his writings from dreams. But also going back to Alan Moore, like, he kind of predicted surveillance cameras, and then eventually, a camera on every street. Yeah. I think he found out.
We're
I don't know how
going
he found
back
out
further though with Orwell, aren't we? And Huxley.
Oh yeah,
Brave New World and
the
The Antidote, The Island. Huxley probably my favourite writer of all time, but Orwell as well. And it just, that whole visionary thing. And the way that artists are viewed in society now in this country, you kind of like you're a lesser. No real, there's no funding for the arts no more.
Yeah, the whole arts fund is slashed.
And it's such a healthy society encourages all that. We're currently under a government which don't encourage that at all, and it's just there,
You see that PJ
ruled
Harvey
by the
thing?
few to be rinsed by.
Did you see that?
No.
Well, it was great, man. David Cameron sat next to her. She did something on the BBC, and he went, "Oh yes, isn't it so great, Britain at the moment? The music industry is thriving." And she just turned around and went, Not really, mate. Like, you slashed all the, you made cuts to make it impossible, and you just see him go, what do I say next? You know,
I mean, they
thought, good
kind
on
of
you,
expand.
PJ.
That's the thing, you know, when you're under a Conservative government in Britain today, they expect a body count, you know, and I think there
It's a
are actual
cull.
statistics
It's
of,
a
you know,
cull,
people
man.
have, particularly, you know, the most vulnerable people in our society who have had their, like, you know, been on, like, incapacity benefit and are ill and need help, you know, and I know there's just here in Tower Hamlets, I'm kind of, you know, I know enough people working in certain those professions that they've quoted how everything been cut, you know, all the funding for
I did an interview. Sorry, go on.
How do you feel with all these cuts about what is going to be spent again in defence?
Well, it's just, you know, I
well, the track we recorded today, sorry, cut
Yeah,
you,
go on.
and Doper, it's like one of the reasons I wanted to put it forward for the record is it's about unilateral disarmament, which is something I've always believed in, and it will be the first time that Deadcuts kind of approach that subject. Well, the song's called Doper, but anyway, it kind of mentions like unilateral disarmament, and yeah, because it just, you know, so many things, you know, I guess so many things about the society we live in here in Britain just appear to be back to front, and when you're ruled by, you know, when every politician's a millionaire or a multi-millionaire who don't know how much a loaf of bread or a pint of milk costs, it's a sad state of affairs. You know
I've
what I mean?
never understood it. I've never understood how these people can dictate how we live because they're completely removed from the street. And like, I was interviewed for the Sleaford Mods movie called Invisible Britain, and I don't know if this part of the interview actually made it in the film. I know bits of it my interview did, but
wicked band, by the way, got to get that in there.
yeah, wicked.
Yeah.
But that, like, I was talking about the cull that I believe is happening right now, you know, and it's like murder, really, but you don't see it because
Well,
they hit a borough each time.
Yeah, acceptable casualties, you know what I mean? Like whatever it is, like 150,
And then they have
200
Benefit Street.
suicides in London. Oh, you know what I mean? Because there is no safety net anymore. I mean, I've experienced that myself. I've gone, you know what I mean? I've gone to the food, but you know, I've been in that. Okay, you know, I brought it on myself through my drug use, but you know, I left home at 13, and my options were kind of dictated. My lifestyle was kind of dictated by the options that life.
But there is propaganda,
me,
though, isn't there? There's like propaganda, like you look online or on TV, and they're basically showing all these people on what's it called, Job Street or
Benefit
Street. That's it. And they're like, these are people,
stereotypes.
you know, saying like all these people are lazy. This is what every claimant is like, and basically this is our justification for cutting people off. And of course, you know, they'll show the worst examples. The same thing with drugs. They'll show the worst examples, you know, and they'll say, and that will be their justification to eradicate a whole bunch of people out without realising that, you know, that's people on working tax credits too. You know, these are people that can't survive.
Yeah, working tax credit. I mean, just knowing what Natanya, who's sewing next door, is expected to, you know, live off, and knowing how hard she work and what she actually lives off. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's a very humble existence. You know what I mean? We live in here. But I mean, it's a pittance anyway, you know what I mean? And I guess that's why they can let that one go.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Or it certainly is for, you know, the time is 30 years old. I think maybe it's staggering different when you've got there's children involved. But, you know, it's, yeah, you know. We're fighting for food here. We're fighting for food here in London.
Yeah.
You know, I watched a programme on homelessness recently. I mean, something that I experienced when I was young. And, you know, shelter couldn't help. I went to shelter, and there was someone who wanted to give me their flat. An Indian guy was going back to India, had a room for me, but because I was 15, you know, it was like, no, you should be in the care system. You know, I wasn't recognised, and I know that I was lucky that back in, when I was 16, I was able to, you know, claim benefit, and, you know, I put myself through college, and I got a roof over my head, and I was lucky enough to do that. But a 16-year-old can't do that now. You're expected to live at home. I mean, and I come from a very, you know, I was brought up in a violent alcoholic household, and and that's not uncommon.
See, I come from a country where there are no benefits, and what
Yeah.
I've seen is my whole life is people living at home with parents until they get married and they
Yeah.
get a mortgage.
Yeah.
And, to me, when I came to England, it looked like the way forward, and now it feels like England is going backwards.
Well, that's it. I'm not.
To what I thought
Italy was
backwards
quoted
anyway.
by the Conservative Party as, previous. I'm not going to mention the dickhead's name. Previous leader of the Conservative Party. He was like, "Yeah, we want to take, be more like modelled on Italian society, where people live at home until they're 30." Yeah, no, but that's just not England. You know what I mean? Like my parents left home and school when they were 15, and I was expected to do the same. I just got in there a little bit earlier.
I've got to say, despite all of this, I still find art and music. I still feel like we're in actually quite a privileged position at the same
Fuck
time.
yeah, man! It saved my
You know,
life.
we can still
you know
get
what I mean?
paid for gigs, and there are several films that have hit us up for soundtracks. The Second Coming's come out, which is a film I was in with
Future's definitely looking.
Peter Doherty and Boyd Rice and Kim Fowley, which is out. Yeah, it's come out this year, and Some of the Witches is like on the end notes at the end, and
I
at
mean,
the
we're
credits.
working class, but we're working class and we're aspirational. You know, we don't intend to be
Wallow in it.
Yeah,
A lot of people wallow in that
living
political thing.
Yeah, living in like hand to mouth and poor. You know what I mean? We work hard at what we do. Right now, we don't have no money, but
I think
God willing, that's going to change in the very
See,
near
now
future.
we're
And London
going
as
up
well,
from
you know what I
there.
mean? We've just been up and played in Hull where my partner's from, and just seeing the wealth in Tower Hamlets is viewed maybe as like a poor borough, but the money here, compared to say you go up to the north of England, and we're very well off here.
Yeah.
Having said that, though, I've experienced that going to the food bank, there being no food, there being no safety net, being told to go to hospital or go to but I was told to go to church or go to the police station, no food, no benefit, no safety net no more, and that's why people are killing themselves in this country, because there ain't no worse feeling than going hungry, and there are people going hungry now in this.
More
Right
than
now,
ever.
while we're talking, there are a lot of people going hungry in this country. And winter's coming, there are a lot of people going to be cold, and a lot of old people, a lot of vulnerable people suffering needlessly, you know what I mean?
to end on a lighter
Yeah,
on a lighter side. End of 2015.
yeah.
Aside from yours, best and worst album. of
Fuck,
year?
this year, oh God.
Shit, that's hard.
Okay, we've heard the new Fat White Family
It's
records.
fucking great.
Yeah.
It is fucking great, I have to say. Yeah.
And worst
one of the
album will have to go to.
Agony Choice.
Thing is, he's always playing me things that are really bad, and I'm just like, no, take when we're
I'm like,
working.
it can get worse, it can get
And
worse.
I'm like, no, I don't need this going into my head, because, television goes on, and that's bad enough, I don't know.
I don't know if
So
you've heard
nice.
of trap goth. It's like this thing called these rappers
Trap
who
goth.
have like really like bizarre it's brilliant stuff. It's
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
Goth
good,
Money
though. It's
Records.
good. That's good.
Goth
What was
Money
the bad
Records,
stuff? Yeah.
Black Cray, Marcy Man,
We really
Kane
like
Groceries.
that stuff
I like
that come
that
out
a
of
lot.
Mexico. What was the Mexican band?
Oh, that Mexican band. Yeah. What they called again? Prayers.
Prayers,
The guys
yeah.
from Sherman's, a Mexican gang. And I like that because it's like
It's a great record, yeah.
It's they've made some really interesting
New Sebadoh
sounds.
album as well.
Oh
We toured with
Sebadoh was
Sebadoh.
great. That was a great tour, man. That was
Yeah.
so much fun. And the last night we were with went to a party at the O2 where the Lemonheads were at. Evan Dando was there, and
Playing, and yeah, there's some good.
Sebadoh, Fat White Family, us. It was a really good party. I come out of there, right, North Greenwich train station. This is really funny. They do this kind of evacuating system at night because obviously no one's travelling on the train. So it's like if an emergency went down. So I'm walking out with Adam and Lias and our bass player, and we're walking. Suddenly we hear this emergency, emergency, and all these lights start coming on, and like,
Well, they're doing a drill.
they're like, basically,
Yeah.
if there's like a nuclear war or something, and all these lights come on, and we're like, complete, like, what the fuck's going on? That was really funny. I think we ran in separate directions. They ran to the south, and we ran to the east.
Who's done something that's really sucked this year? I'm just trying to think.
There's a lot of people
There's a lot of
done
things that
some
I've heard
shit,
that I've just
man.
like had my head in my hands
I'm
like.
surprised you haven't mentioned the new Killing Joke in your.
I've not heard it. I've not heard it. No,
I haven't heard
no.
the new For My Sins. I haven't heard the new
I
Wire
wanted
album,
to.
but I've heard that it's really, really good.
Yeah, I wanted to try and. I'd love to fucking open for Killing Joke. I think that'd be a really good mix, but we're just not. My dad played with Killing Joke. He played on. Oh, what's the album? It's about 85. You must know. You're a big Killing Joke fan. What's
Before
the
night
album?
time or after night time? Because I see him.
Yeah, it's after. It's after that. Outside the Gate. Outside the Gate.
Yeah.
I think it's that one. Yeah. But yeah, I've not heard the new Killing
I
Joke.
can't actually think of any. Christina, help us out here. Who's puts things out that's
Okay, look, anyone that
yeah,
copies anyone else, like, I fucking really hate in indie music right now. Everyone's trying to be like Arctic Monkeys. Everyone's trying to be like Libertines, and it's like, you know what? That happened. That was 2004. Sorry, you weren't there.
Yeah, no, Arctic Monkeys still happening most definitely, and Libertines.
No, I like them, but
we're gonna see some.
well, I
new
think of
stuff
the
from
new
them, yeah.
Libertines. I've not heard the record. I'll be honest with you, I've not heard it. No, I've not heard it.
Carl spent more time working with Peter. That's a message to Carl Barrett. Spend more time working with Peter.
Shit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And that
Well,
comes
you
from
can say
that.
that.
Comes from there.
You know. But yeah, no, I'm glad to see they're working together again, though. You know.
Yeah.
Do
She
you
don't
want
even
a
want to
cat? Do you want a cat?
That's the baby, the evil one.
Yeah, she gives the one slaps. That
The
one
one-
over there, she gives slaps.
The one singing on the record is the silver one, Bailey. You hear him meowing all over it.
He starts meowing when I sing. Because I don't know why, but he does.
He does. He loves Jerome's voice.
What can I say?
Singer in a previous life. That guy. Wicked. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you,
God bless.
Christina.